Hello and welcome back to the channel, here for yet another league race, this time in the Benbo Gaming League, or Championship, and we're here at Kota this week for round number 4, I think it is. See, wet start to the race, however qualifying is dry. You know how we do things like that, it will be the wet dry setup? No, we are going for the wet setup, okay. Did remember correctly. Let's take the fuel out for qualifying as it's pretty much irrelevant. Now heading on, this is my first lap of session. You can see we're coming through the S's quite conservatively, to be completely honest, and then we cut quite, it's quite a bad cut to be honest, so that's it for that lap. Tried my best there, turned the engine down. We then went back into the pit lane, and then we came back out, and then we did this lap time here at a comfortable line at a 131.4. So enough for P2 at the time. You can see Hindle behind on medium tyres. But yeah, so that's the first time lap session. Took 2 attempts, so we got there eventually. You can see just cutting Jeff off then as usual. Getting ready for the second run, obviously second set of tyres. Heading back out, hopefully we'll try and improve on what we have. Of course, this track, very easy to cut in the first sector, as you saw from my first attempt of a lap. We head back on out then, this is the end of the out lap. Round turn 20, which is the final corner, and then over across the line, got a decent exit out of the final corner. Ready to head up the hill towards turn 1. Quite a lengthy run here. Then up the hill on the brakes, turning in, hitting the apex nicely. And then down the hill, bit of back end stepping out there on the exit. Which was a little bit surprised by that. Then running down through the S, as you can see again, a little bit conservatively, but not as much, not anywhere near as much as we have been on the past couple of runs. You can see it's purple sector 1 as well. Again, just a little bit offline for turn 9, which cost you all the way down here towards turn 11. At one of the hairpins, of course, hairpin, long straight, and then another hairpin here with the Circuit of the Americas. So again, we get decent extra there. I think one thing I need to work on is exit speed, because I shift up far too late in like gear 4 usually, 4th or 5th gear. I just get over the engine and then we lose straight line speed. So that's something I will need to work on into the future. What's the point of recording this? I'm not racing today. So my next race is actually the CSGB sprint race for Italy, which hasn't been done yet. Which is that's why there was no video on Friday. Hope you've been watching the lap anyway, as I just waffle on here. Coming through the final corner now to finish the lap. There's only a green sector 2. As we come across the line, it is a 130.9. So we found half a second in the end, but you can see it's only enough for P3. Hindle going on pole to destroy my perfect record that I have so far, which obviously is now broken. Lower than in P2. In the Ferrari, led very good pace here tonight, which surprised both Hindle and I. See, wet pretty much until the end. Of course, then it does dry up. So we go with the strategy it says, which is wet tyres. And just get ready for the 5 red lights to come on. We actually crash at the start of the formation lap due to there being a lack of grip. We hit the wall just there to our right, but this time you can see we've learned from it. And we get a decent drive up the hill, pull just about alongside Noah, who of course has the inside line, so we can't really do much about it. He then just pushes us off. So Hamilton Rosberg gas from 2015, I think it was. Nothing I could do there. I literally got forced off the track. He had space on his inside. So we hold on to P3 anyway, staying ahead of Matty and then Panda behind that. So we headed through the end of sector 1 now. You can just see the lack of visibility. I even said to Hindle, I think after the race, I showed him a clip from this race that you'll see in a couple moments time, and he said he was glad he was leading because of the spray, because honestly I was guessing where the apexes were through the S's. I honestly didn't know what I was doing, like where I was going. I was relying on the car in front of me, which obviously at this point in the race was Noah. As I was following him, I also relied on the racing line a little bit, and apart from that it was just purely guesswork as to where the apexes are, where do I turn in. Of course, one of the only reasons I use the line is so I know where to turn in. Braking isn't that much of an issue for me, but I struggle on when to turn in quite a lot. Even with the line, you see quite often, I'll either just turn in, cut the corner, or turn in and miss the apex completely. As you run through what is usually a flat double right-hander, lifting of course, otherwise you're just going to spin around. There being no grip at all in these conditions. It wasn't as bad as Monaco, that you would have seen on Sunday morning at midday. Well, it should have been Saturday, but again, just a little bit behind. Promise I will try and do better to get the back on a daily basis instead of having to do these double uploads. Head up into the hill then for the start of lap 2 now. So you've just watched a full lap. Head down. We caught up onto the back of Noah. We're sort of just sitting about 4 tenths behind him, which is very difficult to do because the closer you are, the more spray there is. So Matty behind me, 2 seconds back, he would have been absolutely fine. I doubt he would have had any spray to deal with. As you see, we lose the back end there a little bit through turn, I think, 6. Something that I saw James Dovey do quite a lot in CSGB here, which I didn't really see how he was doing it, but then obviously that happened. As we come around through turn 9, the back end just snaps away from us, and we're off into the gravel. Luckily, the gravel saved me there. I will 100% admit that. The gravel chap saved, well, it saved me. If it wasn't for that, I would have hit the wall. It just about slowed me down, but then Panda not really giving me the space on rejoin. Replay of the start then. You can see there's the lights go out. So pretty much a good start from Hindle. I managed to draw up alongside Noah, well, a little bit. I think I get my front tyres ahead or alongside his rear tyres. You see we can hold more speed around the outside. There's no one on the inside side, he just decides to push me off the track. Which of course he's entitled to, he is ahead. But it's a little bit annoying when that does happen. And you can see onto lap 3 now, trying to get back up past Panda for P4. You can see I was quite confident on the brakes against him, but he just managed to match when I broke there. I did try and lunge up the inside, to which he was aware of. However, just skipping up the S's there, because I was just, you know, blind guessing again. Onto the back straight now, right behind. Of course, no DRS in these conditions. We would normally have it though. Move to the inside of the Renault, heading down to turn 12. You see, we have got past him just before the braking zone, and we will take the inside line through the corner. Looks like he tried to switch back, but I was having absolutely none of that. And he's got better exit again. He had another look up the inside there, so I just turned across him. Heading now onto the end of lap 4, we set the fastest lap of the race. So we had a lap in clean air. We were able to catch up a little bit onto the back of Matty, who I've raced against as many times than you would have seen it in previous videos over the weeks. And then down the back straight, right behind Matty, coming down towards turn 12. So he doesn't go defensive there, but then you can see, I think he releases the brake too early at turn 12, runs off, or doesn't run off the track but runs very wide. We try and go around the outside then at turn 13. Twitch's car is still on the outside, but then we have a little bit, you're on the outside, you can go a little, you can carry, if I could speak, you can carry a little bit more speed around the outside of someone, so I was able to just about nip ahead and then take the normal line through turn 16, or at least the inside line, and not squeeze him out, but just make myself known in that position. Let's move back up into P3, so now back up to where we started. Jumping now onto the end of lap 7, we set another fastest lap due to the clean air. We've now gapped Matty by almost 6 seconds, and we are catching right up to the back of Noah and Hindle as onto lap 8. It's now time for the intermediate tyres. Hindle, however, decided to stay out, and me and Noah coming into the pits to put on the green wall tyre. I think Matty as well comes in, and then Panda does as well as he comes through turn 19 now. You can see a fairly clean stop, held a little bit, but the game still reads it as 2.6 seconds. That just seems to be the casual number of stop, or casual time for a stop in this game. As we then get going again on the exit of the pit lane. Now on to lap 10, so a lap later we've gone purple sector 2 and sector 3. We also jumped Hindle who pitted a lap later. Having the extra lap on the intermediate tyres really helped out. I also caught up to Noah, and now you can see on the end of lap 10 as we set the fastest lap of the race.
Good job. That was the fastest lap of the race so
Noah's
far.
playing a little bit defensive here as we head up the hill into turn 1. Onto the brakes. Again, trying to get the car rotated, turned in,
Okay,
and then
clear.
come down the hill. Further on in that lap, heading my teammate Pitts. He pitted quite a lot in this race, but still finished the race, which is valuable points in the Constructors' Challenge. Right up behind Noah, heading down towards turn 12. He doesn't defend the inside, so I have a little look up there. He holds it around the outside, so I can't really push. I can't carry as much speed as I would like. He then comes up back across me, covers off the line into turn 13, so I couldn't quite get the move done just yet. But then jumping now a couple of corners later, through the final corner, and then heading down with the pit straight. You can see we're still right up behind Noah. Hindle is catching a little bit as we're fighting. Matty and Panda didn't quite have the same pace that the rest of us had in the wet. Noah, however, decides to defend the inside this time around into turn 1, leaving us the outside, which gives us a little bit more grip. We were able to carry a little bit more speed, but he gave us the inside for turn 2, and that combined with overtake, he just wasn't getting that position. He kind of left himself a little bit vulnerable there. My guess would be he thought he could hold on up on the inside of turn 1. I didn't expect me to be able to hold it. You can see now jumping forward to lap 17, you can see the Renault ahead of me hits the wall. I have to drive off track a little bit just to avoid hitting him as he was rolling back across the circuit. But then the safety car comes out.
Make sure you keep it positive as we catch the pack.
And this was possibly one of the most pivotal moments of the race. You can see in the top left corner, Matty has pitted for slick, dry tyres. It's the soft compound. I didn't know what to do this lap. I was thinking like back and forth, what do I do? In the end I decided to come into the pits to put on soft tyres. So the rain had stopped when, like at the start of this lap, it was still raining. But then the end of the lap it stopped raining, so that okay, by the time the safety car comes in, we should be good to go. The track is going to be very slippery and the tyres are not going to warm up in the slightest. You can see behind it, Noah has actually pitted for another set of inters. And at this point I was thinking he's either going to win this race now, or he's just lost the podium. So do stick around to the end of the video to see which one of those outcomes happens. You can see Hindle on slicks and Matty on slicks as well.
Approaching the safety car.
So we catch up to the safety car waiting for us. You can see we're already weaving, just trying to get some sort of temperature. I could feel through my wheel that there was absolutely no grip. But a couple laps later under safety car, we do the most dreaded of mistakes I think any league racer would have thought of. And we spin the car around the safety car, but not only that, we were leading the race and possibly on to win it. I think that happened earlier on in this lap. So one lap less on a safety car and we would have been fine. The tyres would have had a bit more temperature. But onto the restart, now onto the end of lap 21, you can see here Panda, the start of his lag starts. Noah hits the back of him, breaking his wing, but then just lags back up the road. So he goes up the inside there and into turn 1. I did not expect to make this lunge, tyres were cold. Slight contact there, which on his screen he actually spun from that. Which again, after the race I apologised to him. I said, yeah, I apologise for the contact, but it wasn't enough. As you'll see from here, you see there is slight contact and then his car just spins off. Yeah, so nothing I could have done there. I did say my move was a bit reckless, but it wasn't as bad as it had seemed from his point of view. But jumping onto the end of lap 22 then, so over a lap later, or kind of just at the end of the lap I guess actually, Noah's gotten past Matty, I believe that's down into turn 12. And now we're going to try and do the same thing heading up the hill into turn 1. We have to stay with Noah the best as we can. So we dart to the outside of the corner. He does stick it back up the inside, so we leave the space at the apex. But at the end of the day, it's quite a simple move. Quite enjoying the move around the outside of turn 1. It's quite an easy one to do. Just see the debris there. I think that's from Noah's front wing from the restart. You can see here the slipstream massively helping as we run up the hill. And then just the bounce squeeze ahead of that. Heading forwards now on to lap 24. You can see we set purple in sector 1, catching Noah very quickly now down the back straight. Into turn 12 he goes back towards the racing line, so we take the inside, dart towards the apex a little bit, just to make sure we get the car stopped. He then starts to stick it around the outside, which is obviously the inside line for turn 13, so we have to hold it around the outside there. And then we dive it back up the inside into turn 16. Quite a nice little battle here we've had with Noah throughout the race. We tried to stick it around the outside of 17 and 18, which probably wasn't possible. The track may have been a little bit greasy still out there, but I don't really know. Maybe just thought it wasn't going to end off for any of us. But then jumping to the end of the race, we couldn't catch Hindle. Of course, he had a dry setup, so he would have been very much quicker at the end. I think the only reason I was able to match the gap was just because this is one of my strongest circuits. So it does help quite a lot. But we'll take a P2. It's not the end of the world. Obviously, Jerome wasn't here this week, which massively helped my championship bid. Well, of course, Hindle winning, he would have caught up just a little bit, but only by 7 points, I think. 8 points, there you go, he set the fastest lap. But that'll be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe as always if you enjoyed. It helps me out massively. Also, feel free to leave any suggestions of how I could improve, or anything you want me to try down in the comment section below. Helps me out as well, and I will reply to any comments. Apart from that, we'll see you next time with the next race.